Throughout history, certain events have shaped our world in ways that go far beyond their immediate impact. November 22nd, 1963. September 11th, 2001. March 2020. Each moment marked not just by tragedy, but by the questions that followed. The Warren Commission, the 9/11 Commission, emergency powers that became permanent. From Dallas to New York to global lockdowns, patterns emerge for those willing to look. The same institutions, the same responses, the same consolidation of power. Recent events continue this trajectory. Butler, Pennsylvania, Manhattan's streets, each incident followed by familiar narratives, familiar solutions. Meanwhile, in boardrooms from Davos to Bilderberg, the world's most powerful gather behind closed doors. Central banks coordinate policy. Intelligence agencies share resources. Global forums set agendas that nations follow. The World Economic Forum speaks of stakeholder capitalism. The Bilderberg Group meets in secrecy. Ancient orders maintain their influence. Some call it conspiracy, others call it coordination. But the connections are there, documented and undeniable. The question isn't whether these networks exist, it's whether we're brave enough to acknowledge their influence on the world we inhabit. The dots are there. We just have to be willing to connect them.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome in. I wanted to do a quick follow-up video regarding my thoughts about Bryan Kohberger stating that he wanted to withdraw his guilty plea. I've noticed in comments, both on the video I did yesterday and on the message boards like Reddit and so on, that a lot of people seem to not understand, number one, what an operation is, and number two, especially in the YouTube comments, what my stance actually is. There's this whole narrative that's been created since this case happened initially back in 2022 about quote unquote pro-burgers versus guilters. And I thought I had been very clear on all the different videos that I was on other channels and my own videos that I couldn't care less about whether this person is guilty or not. Everything that I basically talk about is based on getting to the truth, the hidden truth, which in operations, it's imperative to look at what they're trying to accomplish. Now, I understand that many people either don't understand the history of high-level operations, whether it be propaganda, psychological operations, distraction operations, or operations designed to forward larger agendas that play out over time. And I'm not saying this to criticize people, except to say that people have to look past what the mainstream media has told them. Now, my stance has always been, for a very long time, that the public is being lied to about this case, that there were cover-ups involved, and that, in my opinion, Bryan Kohberger was brought in to facilitate either a cover-up or a larger operation to push bigger agendas. In this case, and referring to my video yesterday, the larger and very aggressive push for a surveillance state. And that agenda is what I was referring to when I have said numerous times for a long time that pay attention to what happens as a result of major high profile events. But you have to be patient and watch and pay attention and notice the patterns. Now, I clearly stated in my video yesterday that it may be he may get released or he may not, but in either case, they will use it to push the surveillance agenda, like, for example, the DNA database expansion and the expansion of surveillance cameras. And then I said, either way, they will use this as a distraction. What I try to get across to people is look at what they are trying to get you to think, number one, and also what is going on in the world that the power structure wants to distract people from. And we have been on a crash course towards the dissolution of citizens' rights and the implementation of what I believe is all clearly stated in the Great Reset agenda that these large globalist organizations have been pushing for many years. Now, what would you do? You would want the public to be paying attention to other things rather than what the government is doing, what intelligence agencies are doing, what big business is doing. Not only to dissolve citizens' rights, but to take away quality of life and steer people into a system that benefits the elites, the globalist elites. Now, I have also stated many times, both on the Devil's Advocate stream, the Custody Queens Off the Clock with Ron, and on Birdie Bombshells, that you have to stop framing these high profile events in the way that you're used to framing them. For example, a true crime case, people tend to want to see everything through the lens of true crime. He's guilty, he's not guilty, the pro-burgers versus the guilters. Instead of zooming out and looking at all the inconsistencies in the case, looking at the narratives that the mainstream media all jump all over. And I predicted many times that if he does file for post-conviction relief, that the mainstream media will jump all over it. And I immediately, and I said yesterday in my video that look at who benefits. So the media companies benefit, all the banking institutions, the investment banks that are essentially the larger banks. I'm talking about the institutional level investors. They will all benefit because the mainstream media has been dying, and anything they can do to get people watching them instead of podcasts and online creators benefits all of them. Now, you have to understand the background to understand my stance on all of these types of things, which is there is a long, irrefutable, and storied history of intelligence agencies co-opting the mainstream media. Not my theory. You can go and look up the declassified documents, the Senate hearings. This is all very well documented. The Operation Mockingbird, and to think that that is still not going on would be naive, in my opinion. So it's not about pro-burger versus guilter for me, I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't care less if Bryan Kohberger was the one who did it or not. What I've spoken about all along is why all the inconsistencies? Why all the lying to the public? Why is the media always in lockstep on these things? That's not logical. If you did a logical breakdown, statistically, what would the chances be that all the large media platforms would be all in on the pro burger versus Gilter thing and these crazy conspiracy theorists and Kohberger's guilty and all these different things. A budding serial killer. You should look past the official narratives. That is what I'm trying to get across to people. So don't get sucked into all of this, pro burger versus Gilter type narrative nonsense. But I understand most people don't look deeper. They don't it's hard for them to understand or accept the way the power structure really works. I've also said many, many times, I'm not a quote unquote true crime creator. I look at the bigger picture and I understand the true crime community that we all like to dig into the details and the new information and discuss it. And that's a whole separate community. And I understand that many of the people in the true crime community are not that keyed in to the history of the power structure and propaganda and psychological operations. I've talked about all of these things, I've explained them. So, for all the people who don't understand my take, you need to do more research into the bigger picture of things. And now, if you don't want to, that's fine. Obviously, I'm probably not the creator for those types of people. I look at the bigger picture. So I would encourage everybody to dig deeper, fight against the cognitive dissonance to accept how you're being manipulated by the mainstream media, the power structure, the government nonsense that is shoved down our throats day in and day out. Look over here. Don't look at what's really happening that's affecting your day to day life. And as I said, I clearly stated many, many times distraction operations. So whether Kohberger gets released on post conviction relief or not, look at the bigger picture. Understand what an operative is. Look into all the funding in that area that was going on, the NIJ grants, Kohberger's connections to getting involved as a research person, a fellow for a research assistant or a fellowship recipient, because that's what universities do. The bulk of research that's conducted on behalf of the government is done in universities. They use graduate students for that. So I'm trying to clarify and push the same type of thought process that I've always pushed. Look past what you're being told to believe. Ask why. Why am I being pushed so hard to believe this? Is it just a distraction or is there something bigger going on? Think bigger. Think bigger. That's the whole idea. And if it's too, if it's too hard for people to wrestle with the cognitive dissonance of accepting that we're being manipulated, and you want to just keep in your little box of looking at things surface level, that's fine. I understand that most people fall into that category. But what I do here is I dig deeper and I go past the official narratives. So, for all of those who understand my mission and the way that I frame things, I thank you for being open minded and being willing to wrestle with scary ideas and encourage people to do their own research, read books, understand larger operations, understand what the intelligence agencies actually do. I have videos that have nothing to do with the Idaho 4 that go into these types of things, and I hope to continue to expand and build my channel so I can build a community of people that are not afraid to wrestle with preconceived ideas they may have had for a long time. So I thank you all. Please like and subscribe to the video because I want to grow the community. And anybody who wants to debate, you have to come correct. Do your research. This is not a channel for people who just think surface level. So with that, thank you. I hope to see you soon on another video. Pay attention.